the United States and Europe have imposed sanctions on Russian and Ukrainian individuals who have fomented destabilization and violence. Germany, however, is particularly reluctant to push too hard, given business interests and the fact that the EU depends on Russia for about a third of its gas needs. Given these factors, what more should the United States do, in your view? What other tools do we have at our disposal to deter Russia from further aggression?
Well, I think there are a number of tools that we have at our disposal, and also there have been a number of requests that have been put forward. First, let's talk about the political lane. I think it's very important that the West stands united on this issue and indicates that we cannot recognize this unlawful aggression in Crimea as we go forward. Other steps that may be taken if they transgress and go over the line in terms of the lack of respect for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, I think we should be holding firm in being united, politically united. Secondly, there's the economic lane. You've mentioned sanctions that have been put in place that are targeting a select number of advisors. These are advisors who are engaged in kinds of corrupt financial actions, and in which these measures can and should hurt. However, there are other economic sanctions which the West together can be looking at, and that is in the context of closing down and shutting down markets that would not be open to Russians, whether they're seeking credit or seeking loans, what have you. I think that is an area that has to be on the table. And then there is the military area. Let me put that out, because you have the countries of Poland, the Baltic states, in particular, Latvia has some 27% of their population are Russian, ethnic Russians, 26% in Estonia. So they want to see a kind of forward deployment of troops, NATO troops on the border to deter any further aggressive actions. I think those are also options that are on the table, including the option Ukraine has solicited military training, support. It had been emasculated of its military assets during the time, in particular more recently under Yanukovych. And so there is also another option. And finally, that needs to be looked at. And finally is the energy option. Here, this is a potent one. Russia relies very heavily on its energy exports, both oil and gas. And in this case, it's understandable in the sense that Europe puts out that, look, a large portion of our energy is, relying on Russia, but here's an alternative for them. And this isn't a change that has to be done overnight, but let's say they take targets, 20% or 30%, where they cut off the supplies they're getting from Russia, and in turn, look at the United States. We certainly can provide LNG, and we should be doing that. That is a very viable option.